Hey folks, Ghost Cat Cooks. Today, it is hot out. I'm in southern Florida and it's July 1st. So, the humidity down here gets you down and all. We were looking for something to make that was summery. Something that was light and happy and refreshing. So we decided on this pasta salad, and it's not the traditional one with the mayonnaise and all that. This is different. And I made this for my clients in Palm Beach, and it was a big hit. So we're going to use this mini farfalle, which is the bow tie pasta. I like this brand, but I really haven't found much difference between the major brands. They're all pretty good. I'm going to turn this stove down since the water's boiling nice. So let's get busy boiling pasta. I'll show you the little tricks I have for it, and we'll go from there. Get the lid off. So, this always makes a lot, and I'm sure some of you know when you're making things and you add and you add and you add little bits, it ends up being a lot. So I'm just going to roughly measure, half a box, 3 or 4 big handfuls. You saw how the water was boiling. So I keep the heat on like medium-high. So let's just stick with that. 3 big handfuls. So you put the pasta in the boiling water, give it a good stir so it doesn't stick together, and then let it sit and come back to a boil. I can see the bubbles starting to come up. I'll keep stirring it until it's at a nice rolling boil. Once that's happening, we'll turn the heat back down and let it simmer. Alright, so we're back at a rolling boil. I put the temperature down to medium high. I just kind of want to keep it at this gentle boil so we don't have boil overs making a mess. So while that's going, it's been going for like 3 or 4 minutes already. I'm going to put some of this Parmesan cheese. This is freshly shredded Parmesan cheese, and I'm gonna just kind of put some, I kind of know how much we're going to use total, and I'm putting about half of what I think, which is quite a bit, because a lot of the flavor comes from this Parmesan cheese. We'll set it in this bowl, because what we're going to do when the pasta's done cooking, we're going to take a little bit of this water, put it in there, let it all kind of steep together, and that's part of the sauce that goes on the salad itself. And then since we have some time, I'll show you this. This is a main ingredient, baby arugula, and we'll probably use half this container. Fresh English peas. I like to keep them raw, but if you did want to, you could blanch them. Personally, what I would do is take a strainer, put them in the strainer, and then dunk that right in the pasta water, and blanch them that way just for a minute or so. Bring them back out, cool them off. But that way you're not wasting a bunch of energy and water by having 2 pots just to blanch. Bunch of green onions, fresh basil leaves. This is an important ingredient. This, along with the arugula, makes a nice blend of flavors. So I got 2 packages of this because I really like that in there. Of course, the Parmesan cheese I just showed you, cherry tomatoes, and one thing I forgot to get out of the fridge is prosciutto ham. So they slice this at the deli at Publix, and I got 3/4 of a pound here, which is definitely more than we need. So I'll let you know what we end up taking. It'll probably end up be about half a pound, but I like a lot of that in there because that's the protein for this salad. And we end up dicing it, so I tell them not to put the plastic or the paper in between to separate it, because when they usually slice it, they want you to be able to pull each piece off individually. But I don't need to do that, so it's easier for them. They kind of like it and smile. But so then we just dice this into good size, break it all up with our fingers, and then that gets mixed in the salad. So when the pasta's done, I'll be right back. So it looks like the pasta's very, very close to being done, and we'll get to that in just a second. But I'm going to use this ramekin, take some of the pasta water, put it into here, and we'll get a little olive oil, put that in there. And this is, like I said, we're just kind of making our sauce. Oops. So we'll stir this around and kind of give it a chance to do its thing. So then the pasta, what I wanted to show y'all is you take it out, cut it, you know, sometimes I'll bite it, all that, and then come up here and kind of look at it. And you can kind of see, I don't know if it comes out on camera, but how the outside is cooked because it has one color to it. And then the inside, there's just a faint line that's not quite 100% cooked like the outside is. I'm hoping you can see that. But that's al dente, which means to the tooth. And that gives it a little firmness, and it's not soggy. So what we'll do is go ahead and pour this water off and drain it. So I'll be right back. So the pasta's drained. I just put it in a little colander and then kept it hot. You know, I didn't rinse it off or anything. So we'll put that in this big bowl. This is going to be our mixing bowl. So kind of like as big as possible, because we're going to be tossing all this around. Now, as you see, it's still steamy. So before it sticks together, this is another flavor ingredient. So olive oil, we put a fair amount in there, and make sure it's the cold pressed, because the most flavor comes out with that. Extra virgin, because that's the most flavor. And stir that up, get it all nice so it doesn't stick together too bad. Now we can just set this aside. This, I'm going to show you what happens. See all the cheese particles kind of separate out. So when we use this, what we'll do is we'll just pour the liquid off and get rid of the protein part. And then we'll add more in there too, so it has a nice Parmesan flavor. So we're still setting that aside. Give me a minute, I'll be right back. So let's tackle the prosciutto now. So when you buy it, see how thin they slice it? You can actually kind of see my fingers through there. It's so thin in spots. Actually, I think where it's thicker, it's actually 2 layers. And that's proper. It should be very, very thin. It's a very salty ham. So this whole thing, it's about a ½ pound, like I was saying before. And we're just gonna rough dice it. You know, we're not looking for tiny pieces or anything. What'll happen in the salad as we mix this is a lot of the salt and flavor will come out and become part of the sauce. These drier pieces will actually soak up some, become softer. But these thin pieces like this, what they'll end up doing is, you know, kind of clumping up, and they'll be in the salad as a little morsel, as opposed to a big flat piece. So we leave them, you know, relatively big. But, you know, kind of break them apart, because we want them to float around the salad. If they end up being too long, like that, looks a little long, I just rip them apart. But break them apart, you know, if they're 2 or 3 or even more pieces thick, don't worry about it too much. It just kind of does what it does. So I'll get all that done, get it in a bowl, and be right back. So I think we're at the point now where everything gets kind of put in the bowl. So we'll start doing that. We got the pasta. I started just a few minutes ago to make sure it was breaking up and the oil was doing its job, keeping it separated. let's take this mixture here, make sure all the flavors out of this. So the reason why I do this might seem odd to some of you, maybe most of you, is I want a lot of Parmesan flavor in there, but the granularness and the grittiness of the Parmesan cheese in the salad can be a little much for the amount of flavor I want. So I take the essence, quote unquote, essence of Parmesan out of there, and I found that usually helps really well. So at this point, when everything's still in there good, I'm going to throw the prosciutto in. I'm going to take some of this arugula. Now, you know, the pasta itself is a little more than room temperature. The arugula, you know, this brand, it says triple washed. And, you know, my experience is this particular one is usually pretty good. So I just kind of feel it as I'm putting it in. And it feels clean, so I'll trust it. Now this, you put quite a bit, and it seems like a lot, but it'll start to wilt, you know, since this isn't chilled down this much. I noticed that there's one leaf in here that's kind of iffy. Looks like it's just a little yellow and gross. So I'm quickly going through. I'm not finding any others. So if you like to, you can pull off some of the big stems. I don't worry about that personally too much. I look at it as a good fiber source, which I think we kind of all need. Green peas, again, they're designed to be cooked in the bag, so 99.9% of the time they're nice and clean. So I'm putting in maybe half a bag. I like raw peas, so I'm partial to them. Let's go ahead and put another big pinch of Parmesan cheese in there. That we may end up putting more in later. Cherry tomatoes. I'll show you what I'm doing here, and then I'll do it off camera. Basically, cherry tomato, you don't need to worry about the tip unless they're really gross looking. Big ones like that, I'm cutting in thirds. And smaller ones, that's not too much smaller, but I'm cutting them in half. So let me do this, and I'll be right back. So I cut up, you know, more than half. It's like 3/4. If you like tomatoes, then put more in. If you don't like them, leave them out. It's kind of there mostly for color and a little moisture and texture. So we'll just throw that in the bowl on top. Everything's in the bowl. Even put those extra seeds in there. Adds a little more juice and flavor. Basil. Like I said earlier, this is a fairly important ingredient. So you notice how there's the stems and all. So what we'll do is we'll kind of just pinch it off at the end of the stems. So all we have is the leaf. We don't need the stems. There's not a problem with them, but we just don't need it. So do that. The other one. You can see how I'm just kind of doing it quick. No need to be too accurate. So this, I wanted to show you, sometimes in recipes, not this one, but you'll see what's called a chiffonade. And that's where you slice it as thin as possible. And it's just itty bitty micro strips. I don't know how well you can see that, but that would be a chiffonade. And that's great for certain things if you ever see that in a recipe. This, we're just going to kind of do it the big dice again. These will wilt down. They kind of mix with the arugula. So, and when you have stuff like this and you want it all on the cutting board, just bring the board up and push it right in. Now, green onions. This is just basically for a touch of flavor and some pop. I had rinsed them off earlier and trimmed off the parts that didn't look good. So we'll go ahead and sprinkle this on top. As far as seasonings, there's definitely enough salt in there. Between the prosciutto and the Parmesan cheese, that I think there should be plenty of salt, so I'm not even going to try that. I do have some black pepper, so I'll put a fair amount of that. You can do what you need on the amount. I like black pepper. So I think that's about it. So it's all in the bowl. Let's start mixing it together. You know, as you're doing this, you can see how I'm tossing it with the 2 spoons and trying to, at the same time, pull apart these pieces of prosciutto because they tend to stick together even to themselves as you're mixing it. So break them apart the best you can. It looks like I need a little more liquid in here. So we'll take the rest of this, put that in there. And you can use a little more olive oil. Kind of helps it make a dressing. So with everything, the best way to tell if you have enough of all the stuff is just to go ahead and taste it. I'm going to pull out a piece of pasta with some arugula. Definitely enough salt. I can break some of these up a little better. Yep, I think it's doing good. We'll put another little thing of Parmesan cheese. Actually, just use it all up. No use keeping it around. And you see how the tomatoes kind of disappeared? I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of these in there. You know, and this is what I said, is if you want more tomatoes, put in more tomatoes. Yeah, more the merrier. So some of these are the ones I kind of picked out from before, so I'm cutting off the bad parts. But we have them. I think it can use a couple more dots of red in there. See, it looks better already. And so I'm looking through here. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more of these peas in there. Okay, one more quick taste. Yep, I think that's going to be good. So, well, I guess what we need to do before I click the camera off is tell you that this salad isn't designed to be served cold. And it's not designed to be served warm either. It's kind of a room temperature. So as it sits right now, this is how it should be served, this temperature. But I always like things like this to sit a little bit and let some of the flavors melt together, let it do its little magic thing and turn into just a little better flavored dish. As you see, I'm breaking this up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this, stick it in the fridge for a couple hours, and then serve it like that. So give me a few minutes, I'll be back. And we're back. So it's been about 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. This has been sitting in the fridge, chilling off a little bit. And I wanted to show you that the arugula is starting to wilt a little, which is normal. That's kind of what you want. And the flavors all kind of came together. I'm still making sure the chunks of prosciutto don't get too big, so breaking those up as I go through it and serve it. So what I did was I made that. So you can see the salad. Let's see if I can get some better light on it. There we go. So I put the salad in the bowl. As I was putting it in there, you know, I picked out a nice piece of prosciutto and some cherry tomatoes, put those on top, made it look a little attractive. This is just some garlic bread that I cut in half and stuck it on top. So it's a very light, refreshing, good summer meal. It's easy to throw together. It makes quite a bit. It's something that people have usually never had before, even anything close to it. So I appreciate you coming and watching the video, spending some time with me. I would appreciate if you enjoy this type of stuff, to spread the word. If you feel so inclined, please like and subscribe my videos. Watch until the end, because that really helps the algorithm. Once again, have a beautiful day. I know I am. I'm going to have a great dinner. And I'll see you soon. Ghost Cat Cooks.